All right, Department of Government Efficiency, those reels for the fish and such. The DOGE, the eGOD on the back side. This is basically kind of setting up Elon Musk to be that puppet for the donkey that I told you is coming. And this is also part of the dictatorial powers being placed. And the dictatorial powers aren't necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's there to correct a thing. So the where I told you he's going to be going into some court and exalting himself as God. Okay, this would be tying into those mirrors on what I told you happening in a dark speak flip-flop fashion, okay? Because they're courting, they're coming together, and he is the X, and he's altering the feds per se. They can't do it on one level, so now they're going to create another level on top of it to go in and get rid of that other problem. So this is where Elon is saying, I can fix it this way and that way, but they're not going to like it. Okay? So this can be where Elon Musk is given this so-called role to be the dark MAGA, the dark sun for the people in Eden and such, where he says where they may take the retirement, they may take this, that, and the other to cover the debt. Okay, so this is where the reset happens, and things can be the first or last, and the last or first, and those who have debt or those who have this much or whatever money or this retirement or whatever, it's all borrowed against the system. The only reason they have that is because the way when we got off the gold standard and these other things. So that's where Trump is saying back to the golden age. Well, we're going to go back to that, and we're going to pay off everything. But in order to do that, we got to do a bunch of shit that people ain't going to like. So that's where y'all got to get back to work, and that's where your Baal worship and all these other things, where you go back into and the so-called Jew, the seeker of salvation that saved the nation and savior and stuff, they are judged in their works. So that's where Elon Musk is coming, and they can, or the government efficiency can do this, that, and the other, and take that or whatever, and then Elon Musk plays a reverse role with the robots and taking your fucking jobs, and then you got to create a whole new America, which I told you was coming also. Okay, so this is also, and then a trifecta can be where you can see Elon Musk, who's a South African, okay, and then Trump, he's talking about these people need a birthright and whatever, but his own son, he's making a law basically that against his own son in a weird type of way, with Melania not being born in America and him marrying her and bringing her over, and then whatever. So it's like a it's where he's half of what he is outlawing in a weird way. All right. And then Elon Musk can be the South African who's bringing this AI and these so-called, well, that's a whole nother thing. But either way, he's this South African dude where we can see this made in America. All these things are made on these points coming up. So where we want things made in America. Okay, so then as it wants to be made in America, then the American Nazism, or that's been placed on this nation in different aspects, but these are all going to be divided and whatever. So you're going to have the man, the eagle, the ox, and the lion all gathered. So the government efficiency, and they're casting the net to the right side, and everybody has already been gathered to the right side, and the red wave, the red Mars planet has been laid upon the Americans such now the Moses can come in and divide that red wave. All right. Or the Red Sea. And then we also see the false prophets lining up in different ways where this dude could have manipulated the so-called Trump win or whatever for the casino, and then Trump owned the casino, and this is all part of the almanac and the numbers and such where these people were winning this or whatever for the money, and then America's burned and the result of it, and then however they have the little flip-flops that we see in part 2 that we see stacking up and lining up. So as Elon Musk is worth these dollars, he's also doing crypto, and then he's also doing electric cars, and he's made his money not with oil. He's made it in a different way, but he's made it using a machine that you think of as using oil and gas. So this is where you're giving over to like the carnal. You're giving over to the carnal. And that carnal is where you're seeing this, that, and the other, but he's doing this, that, and the other, and it's a blend where it's okay. So he's taking out your dollar using the machine that you use every day, just bringing it to you in a different way. Okay? So he's there to basically take out the dollar, and then once Tesla, is so-called the puppet, once it's there and once enough money has been achieved in that so-called trillion that it's valued, and America owns 32 trillion in debt, but he's valued at 1 trillion, so that's telling you that he has enough money to start a fucking country, and that's where he's telling you it's going to be, all my court stuff is going to be done in Texas or whatever. He's taking Texas. So this is where Elon Musk, the Don, Vivek, whoever you want to call it, Abbott for the Gregorian Abandonment Empire, they're taking the Texas, that little horn. Okay? And they're going to cause chaos, get people rounded up. Either way, so as we're showing this one character here, he has this character here, this puppet here, has this puppet here, and they're all working these little pyramid schemes. Okay, and this pyramid schemes goes to the Don where he's working the capstone and the cornerstone. And Elon, he's working the capstone and the cornerstone. Because Elon is part of the one that's given the 1 hour with the beast and such, and it's there to transfer candles. And this is where the Tyson and Jake Paul fight come in, to where Tyson has to give a spark to that wick kid of Jake Paul, and spread a flame throughout that new generation, and we can see that doing it in multiple aspects, to where both of them come down, or Tyson knocks him down and spreads it that way, or the Jake can rise up by knocking that light out, and then whatever. But we'll see these flames go down in one way, shape, or form. But this is when the 7 lights in one aspect are coming together to transfer the lights. So the sports and those types of things, they connect to certain thing in the Olympics with the Last Supper, and the Olympics being an occult ritual, supposedly. All the sports are occult rituals according to the so-called Truth Movement, but the Olympics has a special one because it's the whole world, but they're starting like a world, like throwing the rock in or whatever for that Last Supper, and then it sends ripple effects. Either way, the DOGE, the eGOD, that's also tying Trump into the Rottweiler and the Rottweiler and that lure for that hook, line, and sinker and such. But the Bitcoin and the DOGE, I can see how these can be lures for the so-called America and that so-called petrodollar and those types of things, and bringing that into that little final thing. And then the other would be the other coin setting up, or Tron. Tron is actually the one that you would want to be going to if you can go to any of them, in my opinion. But so we have Elon, we have the Dark Dawn on his way back. He's putting the government efficiency, the DOGE, in to where he can come in and change the Federal Reserve and act as God the way he wants to. And as he does these things, he can divide the nation in one way, shape, or form. And the hot spots are going to be January or November, which is lining up to the Thanksgiving, December, and January, and those are going to take us into that March Madness. And the Thune, that John Thune guy, that's the June. All right, so the June and July and such, that's part of this 2025. The serpent, the Christmas spirit, the present that's wrapped up, and the Jack in the Box been open, everybody's trying to get it back in. All these little different things that are playing out, all rolled into one little big time show. Anyways, that's the sweet spot. Okay, the 23, the try, and that tree where you either go up or go down. Is to come, is not. So either way, the ants or the bees connected with the tree of life. So the bees, they can fly, they can crawl, they can land, they can walk in a line, they can do whatever the ant can do. But the ant, unless you're the queen, can't do what the bees do. Okay? So who are you going to be? Are you going to let Babylon give you that latest buzz?